Hey yo, what's happening, black man? Now in this one, I'm calling the video tattoos and dreadlocks. And where do I start with this one, right? First of all, it's a trend. First of all, it's a trend. Second of all, guys just conform to the trend in order to impress black women, right? It's called thug maxing, right? In the black community, when you want to increase your lay count, when you want to increase your attraction level to black women, you have to get the dreadlocks and you have to get the tattoos. Now, if you look in the background, I have two, right? I have two comment sections rolling in the background. And as I talk, right, just read them. And pretty much what they're talking about are guys with dreadlocks and tattoos, right? In the first comment section, they're pretty much going back and forth about how dreadlocks is not a trend. Yes, it is. So most of you black men in America, you have no West Indian blood in your veins, right? Now, granted, yes, people were rocking locks on the continent, but as far as in the Western hemisphere of the planet, right, dreadlocks are associated with who? Jamaican people, right? Real Rastafarians, right? That's a religion. To be a real Rasta, that is a religion that you abide to, right? The job of a Rasta is to edify your people, right? Depending on where you grew up in America, you actually saw real Rastas. You actually saw people who lived the way a Rasta is supposed to live. And guess what he did? Edify his people. Edify just means to teach his people, right? And let's keep it a buck. When you go up north on the northeastern part of the country, you don't really see a bunch of black men rocking dreadlocks. Now, granted, me being a 90s baby, right? You had a few guys with locks back then, but everybody knew, if you did have locks, you was probably Caribbean. You was probably a West Indian dude. You know what I mean? And again, you had the real rosters. It meant something. That's the thing people don't understand. It meant something, at least back then, right? Because it wasn't popular, right? For the guys who know what I'm talking about, and you're in your 30s and 40s, and you're from the East Coast, you know what I'm talking about. You didn't really see a whole bunch of guys walking around with locks in their head, even though, yeah, I'm pretty sure in the 80s and 90s you had a bunch of different hairstyles guys were rocking back then. But for the guys who had locks, that was associated with dudes who were specifically Caribbean, right? Now, if you fast forward 2007, 2008, that's when Lil Wayne, he was very hot on the scene. And I remember growing up, the one song Lil Wayne made, Lollipop. Yeah, that's back when he had the best locks in the game, right? It made me want to get locks, even though I did grow up around that time period, seeing guys have locks in my neighborhood, right, in the community. But those were real rosters, and again, they rock their locks a different way compared to how American guys rock their locks, right? Rosters lock their hair one time, and that's it. They just let it grow from there, right? Not a free form, but they get a traditional locking style, and then it goes from there. You know what I mean? American dude, you get the constant retwist, which it pulls your hairline back, but you rock the constant retwist, and it's nothing against that because I will say it does look more professional, right? In a corporate setting, right? In a professional setting, you cannot get hired with real Rasta locks. Let's just keep it a buck, dude. Do I have something against it? No. But the people that be, the ones that employ us, this is not our country, remember. The people that be and the ones that employ us, they want us as black people to look a certain way. So if you're going to have locks, yes, you need to have the American style locks where you get constant retwist plus the shape up and you look, a lot more presentable. Now, Little Wayne is from Louisiana, right? I think New Orleans. So what does he know about having locks? Granted, he had locks in 2007, and locks do take some time to grow. If I'm not mistaken, Lil Wayne had locks when he was doing the whole Hot Boys thing. So locks were popular amongst maybe him and his group, but where do you think those guys got it from? He didn't just wake up one day and said, "Oh man, I want to have locks." Nah, bro. Anybody, dudes from the East Coast who remember, Busta Rhymes had locks, right? He was one of the few. But guess what? Busta Rhymes is Jamaican. He's Jamaican, right? From Flatbush. So when it comes to the whole dreadlocks thing in America, right? Especially from what it was in the past compared to what it is now, it's always been associated with gangster rap, right? Bob Marley was not making gangster rap, right? Yeah, you got dudes making certain, West Indian music, guys rapping and everything like that, but it wasn't popular throughout the whole country like how American rap is, right? So when it comes to the dreadlocks, let's keep it a buck. It is a trend. And by the time I got to high school, that's when I was really hearing black women talk about, oh yeah, I want guys to have locks. I want guys to have locks. See, once it hit online, that's when it kind of messed up the game because before online, black men were allowed to be individuals, right? I would never forget growing up. I heard guys talk about how, man, they want to grow their hair out just so they can get more girls. Huh? So wait. I thought growing your hair out was to just explore yourself, find what hairstyles work for you that fit your face, right? That actually make you look better. And you have guys talking about, yeah, I'm doing this for girls. Yeah, I always talk about this in my videos sometimes. When I was on Twitter, 2000 and either 14 or 2015, I would never forget. I saw a tweet that went viral. A guy said, whenever he goes to a loctician house, he brings a condom. Now, first thing is, why are you going to her house? She doesn't have a salon that she can work out of. Granted, if you're 15, 16 years old and the girl's talking about how she can do your hair, yes, she does not have a salon to work out of, right? But then why are you bringing a condom to the girl's house, right? Because back then, I, I'll never forget. I made a video about this on my semen retention channel too. But guys was talking about right on that tweet. Yeah, you can just pay her with sex. So I get if that's your girlfriend doing your hair, sure, right? That's just an intimate moment for you guys. Your head is sitting in between her legs. You got pussy on the back of your neck. You know what I mean? You can feel the warmth. You feel the radiation. You feel the heat coming off it, purring on the back of your neck. I get it. I get it. But most guys are not dating a loctician. So you just want to pay her with sex because you're lazy, right? You don't have money. Again, I've been told by multiple guys throughout my life, yeah, I'm growing my hair out to get locks so I can have more sex. I'm verbatim. I'm growing my hair out to get locks so I can get more girls. Verbatim. Guys have said it like that verbatim, black men. Most guys do not have locks because they really want locks. They have locks because one, they're lazy to maintain their hair. Two, again, they're hoping to get more black women because black women have been promoting this. I'm telling you, if black women got online right now and say, yo, if you all cut your hair, we're going to give all you guys play, right? If they said, yo, if you have locks, no more sex for you, you're not getting no more attention, you're not getting no more box, right? I guarantee you every dude that has locks will cut his hair. And that would just prove my point that most you black simps are followers. You know what I mean? You got locks because you want more girls. Granted, I feel like, bro, if you don't want them, don't get them. And again, if you feel like, okay, if I get them, it'll increase my lay count. Okay, what if it doesn't, right? Or what if it only increases what you can attract by 5%? My nigga, that was waste of time. Because first of all, you got that whole first 6 month phase where your locks look like worms on top of your head. Then the first year phase where they're not even locked all the way, but you're getting somewhere. Then that like what second year, they're not long enough to really have hang time and shake your dreads like Keith Chief back in 2013. So, it's a process, dude. You doing all of that just for girls, right? So what you see guys talking about is the fact that, yeah, man, most guys don't even have locks because they really want locks, dude. You know what I'm saying? Guys only have locks simply because it's what black women want. That's what you see guys talking about in the comment section. So when you look at the fact, um, guys in that second comment section, they were talking about the tattoos, right? Now, tattoos, that's real. I feel like that's even more conforming to what black women want because again, you had guys getting tattoos in the early 2000s. You had guys getting tattoos in the 90s, maybe even the 80s, right? But as time has gone on, right, I would say probably in the early 2000s, that's where you really saw guys getting blazed up with the tattoos for real. Now they're doing full sleeves, face tat, neck tats, all types of stuff, man. And again, I remember growing up, right? I grew up with social media, right? I watched social media evolve over time. So I've always been seeing what black women been saying online. And again, during that early 2010 phase, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, I remember seeing black women talk about, oh yeah, I just love a guy with tattoos. I love a guy with dreadlocks. Oh, that's all I want to deal with. If you don't have no tattoos, you don't have no dreadlocks, I'm not talking to you. I've been seeing that since I was 13 years old. So for guys who are, I want to say at least under the age of 30 years old, that's all we've been seeing is black women talk about, if you don't have dreadlocks and you don't have tattoos, don't expect much from us. I've been seeing that for a long time. And again, when you conform to the stereotype, because first of all, where did that image of a black man come from? How did the image of a black man wearing a suit, being professional and stand up, right? How did it get so watered down to just a thug nigga with dreadlocks and tattoos and a gold fronts in his mouth? How did it get so watered down? But again, that's the image that the white man created for black men, right? When you turn on the news, Fox 5, Fox 28, Fox 27, Fox 15, right? Any Fox News channel, your local news channel. Listen, you look at a black man who's on that TV screen committing a crime. What does he have? Dreadlocks. Guaranteed he has tattoos. So again, a lot of you black males, you want to dive into being the physical appearance of a stereotype. And then you wonder why you get treated some type of way. Yeah, you might get good treatment from black women. And if you live in a black society, okay, it might work for you. Outside of black society, trust me, dude, that image doesn't work for you. It really doesn't. And I would never forget, yo, I remember hearing guys tell me, like face to face, going on job interviews and being told to their face, we do not hire people with dreadlocks. Yo, because it's associated with a bad image. When you got niggas like Little Dirk, and you know what? I have a video clip of Little Dirk coming up in a video clip. When you got dudes like Little Dirk making songs like, oh, drill, drill, kill, I'ma stand over the body. You know what I mean? Drugs, sex, murder, violence, all that nonsense. And again, you look at the rappers on Demon Time and they all have dreadlocks. What do you expect? What do you expect? Yo, for the black men who did not conform, you did not give in, right? You was not mentally weak to go and transform yourself, right? You stayed true to who you were. You thought to yourself, man, listen, I could have grown my hair out and get locks, but that's not what I wanted. I wasn't concerned about trying to impress black women. Listen, what you see is what you get, right? For the dudes who did not go and get tattoos just to impress black women, me personally, I changed my mind a lot. I'm not getting tattoos. I could never do it. You know what I mean? I could never do it because I'm gonna wake up the next day like, yo, why did I get this? I'm in the mirror. Yeah, you can go and get the laser surgery to get it removed, but now you done jacked up your skin, right? So again, for you dudes who stay true to yourself, bro, salute. Trust me, bro. I know that mental pressure and it's tough. It's tough, yo. Listen, I told you guys about my female best friends in a couple different videos. I remember they was telling me to my face, yo, Scar, you should get a neck tattoo. Yo, Scar, you should get a face tattoo. Yo, Scar, you should get some tattoos. I remember, one day I was hanging out with my ex-girlfriend, right? And she was like, yo, Scar, you would be perfect if you got some tattoos. I'm like, perfect? Perfect? Damn. I ain't never had no black women say anything like that to me before. Like, yo, perfect? I would be perfect with tattoos? God, if I would have got dreadlocks, bitch, you'd have probably sucked the dirt off the bottom of my feet. Right? I'm like, yo, come on, son. That's what I'm saying. You black dudes, you conform, right? And that's why I make content for 10%, because your 10%, you really weathered the storm, right? You really weathered the storm, man. You made it through. And listen, give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. You deserve it, black men. And again, I've watched so many guys conform, right? And now that I'm a little bit older, and when I talk to younger men, right, who are at least a decade younger than me, and I can see how they're going through those mental changes, I'm like, bro, it's really sad how young black men, you conform to the culture, and in the moment you don't see how you're hurting yourself. In the moment you don't see how you're destroying yourself, all because you want black pussy. See, black pussy is the catalyst to destruction in a black man's life. Because in order to really not only get a satisfactory amount of pussy, but to get a satisfactory amount and quality, because quantity really isn't black men problem, but I know for a fact it's quality. Most of you black dudes are not laying down with attractive black women. And by whose standards? Yeah, I could say it's by my standards, but yo, beauty is subjective, dude. It's not in the eye of the beholder. You do is, yo, that's that simp talk. We can all look at a bad bitch and realize, yo, that's a bad bitch. You know what I mean? All that, oh man, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Yeah, whatever, nigga. No one would touch your bitch. Only you want her, right? So what value does she really have? You know what I mean? And again, watching young men conform, I'm like, bro, that's why black men, the sooner you can wake up. This is why I make the content. I make the content for young men. As an older man, you come across my videos, yo, salute. If you support me, yo, salute. But I need young men to wake up, bro. If you can wake up by at least 22 at the latest, waking up anything past 22, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. You're putting yourself in the red, right? You're putting yourself in debt, right? Not credit debt, but you're putting yourself into life debt, right? Because by that point, you're gonna end up keep on simping, keep on trying, right? Remaining in a performative state of mind, not performative for yourself, but performative for black women, right? And if you can wake up by 18, even better, dude. You have to separate yourself from black society, because black society is promoting the worst of the worst in black men, right? So I think by this point, Let me see how far I am, man. Hold on. Yeah, by this point, I'm way far in, dude. I should play the video clip of Little Dirk talking about his dreadlocks. Hold on.
My jeans. It was the worst thing ever. Cause when they cut my hair, the lady guard was like, "Why you cut your hair?" But it supposed to be mandatory, and I'm like, "What you mean? What the fuck I cut my hair for?" Then they did me any type of way. I looked in the mirror. I say my career over with. They cut me bald, all type of shit. But now I'm back. It's over.
How long did it take to come back?
My hair grow fast. You know what I'm saying? I got all type of shit in my jeans.
All right, boom. So look, I played the video clip about Little Dirk talking about his dreadlocks. He was so dependent on his career. Oh, I'm sorry. His career was so dependent on him having dreadlocks, black men. Do you understand the imagery that I'm talking about? Do you understand, like, guys' whole personality is rooted in their dreadlocks? It's rooted in their dreadlocks, yo. That's what I'm saying. He said his career was over. Really? How was your career over? Because of a hairstyle? Yo, but I'm telling you, black men, this is what I'm talking about. Now, boom, check it out. I got some I got some screenshots. I'm gonna show you guys, right? And this is how you know, yo, I'm not just up here talking. I'm not just running my mouth for no reason, black men. I'm telling you. Hold on, check it out. Now, you'll have these posts from these kind of like quote pages. I'm not sure where these black holes be finding this stuff at, but again, they repost it all the time. So boom, check it out. Dreadhead plus pretty girl. I remember I went to the comment section. So many simps. So many simps. Yo, I'm a dreadhead. I'm a dreadhead. I'm a dreadhead. Yo, where's my pretty girl? Where's my pretty girl? Yo, my locks all the way down to my back. Where's my pretty girl? Yo, I got locks. I got locks. And I'm like, yo, you see what I'm talking about? If black women say jump, you niggas don't even ask how high. You jump until you can touch the sky. You niggas jumping until you can dunk on a 10-foot goal. NBA regulation. Come on, bro. All black women got to do is say, yo. All black women have to do is give you guys a command, and guess what? You're doing the most. You're doing twice as much as what she commanded for. And again, I don't have time for that simp. That simpness, man. That simpery. That simp talk. Yo, you gotta separate yourself, black men, because you'll find yourself realizing, yo, even a simp who conforms will get more action than 10%. And again, once you conform, bro, you take on the affectations of the community because you're trying to impress black women, right? Now, I'm not saying that. Well, first of all, let me say this: if you go full fledged and conform to Tyrone and Glocktavius, let's keep it a buck. Black women are the most forgiving of the Tyrone archetype. Latinas are the second most forgiving of the Tyrone archetype. White women are the next most forgiving of the Tyrone archetype. Right? If you ever dated if you ever dated a white woman and she's talking about how she wants to date somebody more black, that just means she wants to date somebody who is more stereotypical, right? Asian women tend to be the least forgiving amongst the Glocktavius archetype. Now, this is why I told you, brothers, you have to leave black society because within black societies, right, or populations, or I'm sorry, cities with a heavier population of black people, you realize that it opens up the door to more Glocktavius being present in that environment. So when you separate from that environment, you realize those guys really don't exist in the majority of the country. It's only in specific cities where, okay, that kind of ignorance is promoted. And where is that mostly at? Deep down south. I've been told black men, right? I've been told 10% black men, you need to leave the deep south. If you're in a state like Louisiana and you're in New Orleans, you need to leave. You're in Houston, you need to leave. You're in Alabama, you need to leave. You're in Atlanta, you need to leave. You're in Florida, you need to leave, man. Like you brothers, you in North Carolina, you need to leave. You need to pack your bags, go to like Northern Virginia, go to DC, go to Maryland. Granted, yeah, they still have a black population that's heavy up there, but the Glocktavius, yes, they still exist, but it's not promoted, right? Because you have to think about it, right? You can't move to the DMV area and think, oh man, I'm gonna make it in rap. Not saying rappers don't come out of the DMV, but people move to the DMV for work, right? The DMV is filled with a bunch of college educated people, right? Glocktavius, he gets packed up real easy in the DMV. Glocktavius can only survive and thrive in the deep south. And he still gets packed up. But if you look at how the deep south is structured, right, that whole plantation mindset, promoting the buck, promoting Glocktavius, the Tyrone archetype, that's where it's really like concentrated. And again, I can really get into the science behind this, man. It's just not worth it. You guys can understand where I'm going with this, right? Now, let me go on to the next one. Next screenshot. Y'all tatted motherfuckers be so fucking fine. I don't even like to curse this much, but I gotta go hard in this video, man. See, when it comes to those tattoos, right? Now, society is becoming more lenient when it comes to tattoos, right? You can get a face tattoo and still get a job. Not a good one, but you can still get a job, right? Now, it depends what you determine what a good job to be. Some people might associate good jobs with college degrees. Now, I will say once you have a degree, you're no longer working in blue collar work. You're working in corporate America. And in corporate America, there is a standard, right? When it comes to a job giving you real benefits and perks, right? You get more than 2 weeks off from work. Yeah, that's going to require you having a white collar job or something close to it, right? Maybe you go federal, maybe you work for the government. Again, maybe you're working for a prestigious white collar company. But if you're just a regular blue collar worker, expect to have 2 weeks off from work and expect a salary under the under or right at the average American salary. Not saying you cannot make more money, but that requires a skill, right? Unless you want to dive into management, right? You're not gonna make $75,000, even 60,000 base salary. We're not talking overtime. Your base salary, either before or after taxes, is $60,000. I'm not, and it don't matter where you live in the country, right? Your base salary is $60,000. That's 5,000 a month, right? And that's 5,000 a month either before or after taxes. Just depends on how much money you're making. Again, if you're a regular worker with no skill, you're not making that without working overtime, right? Electricians, plumbers, carpenters, right? Truck drivers, welders, people can make that kind of money. 60,000 base salary, yeah. Skilled workers, white collar workers, they can make that. But you guys who are at the bottom, right, unskilled labor, you can be replaced by AI maybe within the next 10 to 15 years. Yeah, you're not making 60,000 base salary. So yeah, those jobs you can have a tattoos all over the place, right? Even with some of the blue collar jobs, yeah, you can have tattoos. But again, skilled black men, skilled labor. When you go white collar and you got a college degree, tattoos they're not gonna be forgiven in the workplace environment. You can have them, but you got to cover them up. If you went and got you a hand tattoo, yeah, you're not gonna work in white collar in corporate America. Again, I'm not saying you have to work in corporate America, but Jobs that tend to give you, the appropriate package when it comes to benefits and perks tend to be white collar jobs for the most part. For the most part, you do have some blue collar jobs that offer that, and we're talking skilled labor. You work for Lowe's, you work for some security company, you work in fast food, you work in the warehouse, Amazon, UPS, FedEx. Yeah, you're not getting a month off from work. You're not getting, a good benefits and perks and stuff like that. You're not getting like no, right? But again, you got black women who've been talking about this for a long time. Yeah, you tattoo guys are so fine. So again, guys, listen, I remember growing up in my neighborhood because again, I'm not from the hood. I never lived on Section 8. I don't know what it is to be in the projects, and I got pissed in the elevators and guys standing outside the front of the building all day, right? Even down south, you got duplex homes, right? Where it's like a house attached to a house, attached to a house, and attached to another house. Right? So it's like imagine taking a big house and splitting it 1/4 of the way, right? So, you got stuff like that where you can legit hear your neighbor next door arguing and having sex. Not like an apartment, but inside of an actual house, right? Or it was similar to row houses, right? Because that's what a duplex basically is. It's a row house. Um, yeah, man, that's not the environment I grew up in. So again, you have black women in the suburbs talking about, yo, you need tattoos, you need tattoos. Yo, Keisha, shut up. Shut up. I saw guys from two-parent households. Your parents been spoiling you your whole life and you get a face tattoo? Guys wanted to be street and thug so bad because that's what black women promoted. They made that stuff cool. I'm like, wow, yo. I'm telling you, all black women got to do right now is say, yo, listen, all you street guys, you're done. You can't get no more sex. Yo, niggas will start reading books. Guys will pursue higher education. Guys will cut off their dreadlocks, get laser tattoo removal. Yo, come on, dude. Black women in general understand what kind of power they hold. It's not like physical, real power, but it's social power, right? It's social power. And black women, they realize, yo, listen, we have to remain in control. Everybody else, right? Every other racial group in this country and around the planet have the men have control over the group. Now in Africa, I would say the men have control, but that's Africa. That's a different continent. So let's just keep it on America. Let's keep it on America, right? White men control white populations. Asian men control Asian populations. Hispanic men control Hispanic populations on the social level as well, right? The women can't dictate what the men are going to do. Only with black people, Keisha controls the social dynamic. So what they say goes. Now that's why I make content for 10% because you don't conform to what Keisha wants. What Keisha wants you to do is to destroy yourself. We don't have time for that, black men. Now, check this one out. This is a screenshot from a black woman who I used to follow on Instagram. And even the black women know it, bro. That's what I'm saying. You guys are simps. Even black women know based off what she said, right? I cropped it so I don't dox her. She said, having dreads be saving some of y'all niggas. Even they know you're a simp. You're a simp. You got locks just so you can impress them. Yo, come on, son. This is what I'm saying. Yo, 10%. Yo, salute. If you never conformed, yo, salute. If you never conformed, salute, black men. Yo, you don't have to do this to get black pussy, dude. Just move away from them. Yeah, I'm telling you, the faster you can wake up, black man, you can really save yourself. You can save yourself, black man. You don't realize how they want you to destroy yourself, bro. Once you get that tattoo on your face, bro, if you don't have a skill, be prepared to not make a decent salary, bro. A livable salary, bro. Right? When you conform to that imagery that they want you to live up to, unless you're a rapper, again, see, they're trying to push black men into these uh avenues of life where you have a short term and a short success rate of actually becoming successful. So again, sports, rap music, entertainment, like bro, how many guys are really making it in those fields? Not many. Not many, not enough for you to actually want to pursue it. So it's like, come on, bro. But again, even black women know you guys are simps. You only get the locks to save yourself so you can get more black pussy, or at least try to. Here go another one. Anytime I see a homeless nomadic family and they all got dreads, I automatically assume it's the nigga fault. Got your family following some melanated bullshit right under a bridge. And yes, I've seen that multiple times, especially in the deep south, right? Granted, you have it in other places on the East Coast as well, but it's mostly in the deep south. I'm like, bro, I'm like, man, come on, bro. So as a black woman, why couldn't you choose a man, right? And you know what? This is why I don't feel bad for black women, because you have options. And if you guys watch the video I made, I called it "It's Their Choice, but they have to be accountable for their choices," right? So yeah, you can talk about the homeless dude with the locks and he's following some hotep lifestyle, you can talk about him, but as the woman, you could have chose somebody better. Oh, but he's not attractive. Again, I always bring it back to that video of that black woman in the projects in DC talking about, yeah, I could have find me a king who could treat me right, but he not attractive. So a man who treats you right is automatically unattractive. So a man who's not covered in tattoos and he doesn't have dreadlocks, right? He's automatically unattractive. A man that has a job, a legal 9 to 5, right? Or even if he has a skill, right? Blue collar or white collar, he working for the government, he's making good money, can take care of himself. You're telling me you can't find a guy who is non-stereotypical and he's unattractive? Like, really? You couldn't find him to be attractive? See, this is why I don't care about how black women turn out, bro. This is why I'm telling you, dudes, you have to pack up and leave. The sooner you can get away from black society, because when you're in it, you don't really see how dysfunctional it is. Maybe you do, but you realize how normal you see it because this is all you see. You're surrounded by it. When you can really get away, and again, this is what I'm saying, 10%, those guys figure out how to get away from it early. I'm talking like, yo, 18 years old. These dudes say, yo, fuck it. I'm going to the military. I'm going to university across the country. I'm packing my bags. I'm going overseas somehow, some way. Yo, dudes get away from it early. That's why I said if you can wake up by at least 22, you can save yourself. If you're waking up at 25, like I'll say 25 is like really the cutoff age, dude. You're coming across information like this at 28, 32, 35, 40 years old, man, you done already did so much damage to yourself, because by that point, it's like almost a guarantee you conform to what black women have already kind of pushed on you. You've been hearing it for so long, you just say, fuck it, I'm going full-fledged into it. You know what I mean? So yeah, bro, this is why I make the content. Hopefully I can wake up young men by at least 22 years old, but man, you gotta really fight that mental pressure, dude, because you're gonna watch so many young guys around you conform. Some guys do get the success from conforming to the culture, right? So you'll see guys who probably wasn't bagging any girls to go from getting no girls to some girls or maybe even a lot of girls. Some guys who is getting some girls go from getting some to a lot, not only just a lot, but getting like some fine shit too. So, you know, it works for some guys, right? And I understand why they do it, because that's the only way that you can even reproduce as a black man. I promise you, if you don't conform, especially as a young guy in my generation today, Gen Z, if you don't conform, I promise you, you are not going to have kids. I promise you, you are not going to have kids. I promise you that. I promise you that, black men, right? And here goes the last one, because I've been recording for a while. Shorty said, yes, I'm single. Yes, I retwist dreads. What does you being single have to do with retwisting dreads? But that's because she's ready to get fucked, black men. See, I knew a shorty who was a loctician and she was a stripper at the same time, right? But she was fucking her clients. And I remember, first of all, she became a baby mom, right? From one of her clients that she was retwisting, right? And I would never forget, I'm watching her Instagram story one day, and the guy who she was dealing with was hanging off the roof, or I'm sorry, off the hood of her car while she was speeding down the street. And she was like, this crazy ass nigga, he won't leave me alone. He won't leave you alone because you forced him to conform. Yeah, maybe not her specifically, but the culture have forced him to conform, right? He done probably spent years of his life growing out locks just to impress black women, right? You get a black woman pregnant and now she want to take the kid from you and leave you and do the whole baby mom thing. Of course, this nigga's gonna be crazy. I've invested so much into you women to still not get what I want, to still get treated bad, to still be to still be a baby dad. I'm like, yo, the culture is just so disgusting, man. I'm telling you, black men, the sooner you can separate, the better. I'm gonna call this video "Dreadlocks and Tattoos: The Catalyst to Black Men's Destruction." Anyways, yo, I'm done. I'm done, black man. I'm out. Peace.